Hi, today I'm reviewing the SkinCeuticals Discoloration Defense. And really quick, I just want to say I purchase all these products with my own money, so you know you can trust my opinion is what I honestly believe. So SkinCeuticals recently came out with this within the last couple months, and I purchased the full size, which is not cheap, and went through it pretty quickly. And then in a couple of my beauty subscription boxes, I got a couple samples of it, so I thought that was a good chance. Since I neglected to review it originally, I thought I would get to it now, since some of you guys have asked about some of the SkinCeuticals products, and a lot of them are good. They're kind of hit or miss for me, so I'm going to let you guys know my thoughts on this expensive product. So my first criteria on the Serum score scale is packaging, and even though this is the sample size, it's pretty true to what the full size is. It's just a opaque bottle with a dropper top. So they've done a nice job with it. I like the fact that the bottle is opaque and not clear because it protects most of the antioxidants from becoming degraded from visual light and air. So the dropper bottle, I would personally prefer a pump, but this is still a decent way to get the product out there, and it does a decent job protecting it. So I gave them a thumbs up for packaging. And my second criteria is alcohol, and this does not contain any denatured alcohol. My third criteria is fragrance, and again, most, if not all, SkinCeutical products are fragrance-free, and this one is as well, which is always a good thing. My fourth criteria is the manufacturing location, and this is made in the U.S., so no issues there. My fifth criteria on the Serum score scale is ease of use, and it's pretty easy to use. I personally recommend using it at night after you use a toner or an essence or both. It's just easiest to use it that way, but you can definitely use it during the daytime, but just be sure to follow up with good SPF. You don't want to reverse all of the hard work you're doing to lighten hyperpigmentation and age spots. You don't want to undo that by exposing it to SPF, or not SPF, to sunlight without protection. So definitely be sure to do that. When you're working on hyperpigmentation or melasma or anything like that, be sure to use an SPF, because that's the only solid way to help protect the work you're doing. And maybe even wear a hat or just try and stay in the shade, because when you're working on things like that, it's so easy and quick to undo months and months of work with just one day of going without sun protection. So that's kind of my personal tip, and from experience too. So number 6 on my criteria is antioxidants, and this contains lots of them. Kojic acid, which is proven skin lightener. Niacinamide, which is, I think they've got it at 5% level, which has shown to improve skin tone and lighten skin. And then the interesting one they've included is 3% of tranexamic acid, which I'm sure I'm pronouncing wrong. But that one's got a lot of research behind it showing that it is a very effective skin lightener. So that's good that they've included that. They've really done a pretty good job for the most part with the skin lighteners. And then, so 3% of tranexamic acid is the amount needed. So if you're using a product that has 1% tranexamic acid, it's not the level you need to actually lighten hyperpigmentation and things like that. 3% is kind of the gold standard level that you need to have of that. So they've got a lot of good antioxidants in there, but then they decide to throw in this herpes, which SkinCeuticals kind of brags about it on their website. And I'm going to just pronounce this horribly. Hydroxyethylpiperazine ethane sulfonic acid. Herpes is the acronym for it. But I'm not sure exactly why they brag about this, because that ingredient has been shown that it does free radical damage. So that's why I recommend, if at all possible, use this at night, because that herpes has been shown that it can help with, not help with, but hurt your skin and kind of react with free radicals. So if at all possible, use this at night. I'm not sure why they brag about it, but there's some good research out there about that herpes, but all that research I could find was done by the company that sells that product, that ingredient. So make of it what you will. There's really no conclusive research, but I always just prefer to err on the side of caution, especially when it comes to your skin and your face. And, you know, I know how hard it can be to lighten melasma and hyperpigmentation because it takes months, if not years, of dedication and daily application and daily SPF. So you don't want to undo all of that. So my number 7 criteria is animal testing, and sadly, SkinCeuticals is not cruelty-free. So not a big fan of that. My number 8 criteria is performance, and so I went through an entire bottle pretty quickly. As you can see in my hand, how quickly it soaks in. So, you need at least a full dropper bottle to cover your entire face, and if you're doing your neck, a little bit more. But for me, this $90 bottle that I went through did about as much as a tube of my Alpha Skincare Dual Action Lightener, which I have a review of, so you can always check that out. I'll link to it. But an entire bottle of $90 of the SkinCeuticals didn't even touch what that Alpha Skincare Dual Action Skin Lightener did. And the reason I think that might be is because that Dual Action Skin Lightener contains glycolic acid, which is an exfoliant. It also contains hydroquinone, which for some reason is controversial. People are sensitive to it. I have never had any issues with it. A lot of the research about that ingredient has kind of been disproven, and it's pretty safe from everything I've researched about it, and I've used it and never was really too worried about it. So a $90 bottle versus the $10 tube of the Alpha Skincare, and I got about the same results. So you can kind of, you know, if you're on a budget, just consider that. Yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts. So it performed okay, but just not, I expected more is what I'll say. Thankfully, I've gotten a lot of my hyperpigmentation kind of under control, but I still would prefer, there's still some more spots I'd like to work on and still am working on. But in my opinion, we're going to spend $90 versus a $10 tube. That kind of, it's an easy decision, but anyway, so that's kind of my thoughts on it. If they would have maybe included a little bit of that, it probably would help with skin lightening a lot quicker, but I know people are sensitive to that ingredient, so I'm not going to make any judgments for anyone else, but it's kind of my thought on that. And then my number 9 criteria is price, and like I said, it's $98 for 1 ounce, and this again is the sample size, but I did go through the 1 ounce tube pretty quickly. So I think it lasted me a month or less, so that's just something to be aware of if you're going to use it. And when you're taking care of skin lightening, it's something you can't just start and stop. You need to be committed, continue usage, almost sometimes inevitably, or until you get the results you like. So you can't just start it, use it for a couple weeks, stop for 2 weeks, and start again. And then also always be wearing SPF. And then my number 10 criteria is the it factor. And, you know, I didn't give it the thumb up for the it factor just due to the price, that Heppies that they've included, which is iffy, and the fact that there's some more ingredients that they could have included that would have helped more rapidly help with skin lightening. So they could have done a little bit more. They've got a good start on this. So perhaps use this in conjunction with some other skin lighteners. Just be sure not to double up on any ingredients. So those are kind of my thoughts on that. So overall, it's got a 6 out of 10, which is decent, but not necessarily for a $100 product. So you kind of make your own decision with that. So anyway, I'm interested if you guys have had a chance to try this yet or not. And if you've tried it, what are your thoughts? Or if you've tried any other products from SkinCeuticals, what have you tried and how have you liked it? So I grew up using their ferulic acid and vitamin C, and that was always a good one until I found some other products which are pretty similar but a lot cheaper. So anyway, so leave a comment. I love hearing from you guys. Feel free to subscribe if you're not already. I come with at least 1 new review every day. And as always, check out nobsbeauty.net and the Amazon link below. Thank you so much, guys.